welcome to MandoBug Crafts, episode 53. Hey, what's up? I'm MandoBug, but you can call me Amanda if you want. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the web under MandoBug, like Instagram and Ravelry and Facebook, and I have a Pinterest too. I've recently started using Pinterest to pin different dinner recipes because I'm getting tired of making the same old dinners over and over again. And so far it's actually been going pretty well. We just made a crock-pot stew a couple days ago that was really good. And this morning I tried these really good French toast roll-ups, but they were they took quite a bit of time to prepare, but they were really good. You take like bread and you flatten it out and put like cream cheese, strawberries, roll it up, dip it in egg, cook it, and then roll it in cinnamon sugar. So good. But that has nothing to do with me introducing myself. So hi new viewers. If this is your first time watching, thanks for checking me out, and I'd like to say thanks to all you returning viewers. I miss talking to you guys on a regular basis. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I last recorded, and it's not too bad considering I got Emily, who is now 7 weeks old, and keeping me busy. So I figured I should go ahead and record today, get it out of the way before I go back to work on Thursday. Oh my goodness, I'm not looking forward to that, but you know, it is what it is, and I'll probably talk about that later. But anyways, let's start the show out with something I've learned, which is what I normally get right into, but I guess today I was a little conversational. So, let's show this off for a second, right? Because this has something I've learned in it. So, I finished, and here's the hood. Looks like this. I finished the Latte Baby Coat by Lisa Chemery out of some Tosh Chunky in the Jade colorway, knit on US size 9s. I got some wooden buttons here that I picked up from Joann's, I think, to fasten the coat shut. Now, quick note about the pattern while I'm talking about the finished object. The pattern's written for the coat to go over multiple layers of clothes, so it's not meant to be a tight fit. There's a lot of positive ease written into the pattern. This is a paid-for pattern. So I went ahead and I knit at a tighter gauge. I think I was getting 4 stitches to the inch, or no, 5 stitches to the inch when the pattern called for 4 stitches to the inch. So quite a bit smaller, and then I'm thinking, is that right? I think that's right. And then also I knit the 6-month size when I really don't want it to fit her until she's 12 months old. So I feel like I did right. This looks like a good size for a 12-month-old, but obviously she's only 7 weeks, so I can try it on her as it goes, and hopefully it will fit through the next winter is my goal. But what I learned from this pattern, which you might have seen when I did the close-up, on the button band and those pockets is a really pretty stitch called the woven basket stitch. And this was my first time doing this stitch, and it's a little tricky, but it's totally worth it because how cute is that stitch? I feel like that stitch on the pockets and the button band, which also goes around the hood, makes this pattern stand out so much. I absolutely love it. So I wish it stood out a little more. This color is pretty variegated, so it doesn't show up super well from back here, but it's a very gorgeous stitch. It's a little tricky to do. So this is knit flat, and which makes it so that, you know, it's different. The stitch is different on the right side and the wrong side versus if you were to do the stitch in the round. So on the right side, you are knitting the second stitch on your needle, and before you drop it off, you go back and then you knit the first stitch. And to do that, you have to do it from the back. So you go behind your first stitch on your left needle, and you come to the front and you knit the second leg through the front. You knit the second stitch through the front leg, So it's like this weird, like, get in there, get to the front, knit it, get out, come back out, go to the front of the first stitch and knit it, and then you take them both off. So it's really fiddly on the right side. But when you get to the wrong side, you purl the second stitch, then you purl the first stitch, and then it comes off. And that's much easier because the yarn's in the front. You don't have to go behind and then go all crazy, you know? So I followed the written instructions on how to do that stitch, and it turned out just fine. So I don't know if there are any good video tutorials on this stitch out there. There probably are, knowing YouTube, but I did not use any for this, so I won't have anything in my show notes, which are on my blog, mandobugcrafts.blogspot.com, or you can follow the link in the description of the YouTube video to get you there. Yeah, I didn't follow any videos, but I'm sure they're out there. So yeah, so I'm going to do things a little out of order today. Since this is a finished object, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my finished objects. So I finished that coat, and then I also finished a pair of socks. These socks right here, which are very cute. I do not have sock blockers, but these have been blocked flat, so they will stay flat. These are the Hermione's Everyday Socks, and you can see when they're close up, there's a knit and purl stitched pattern that gives you this nice textured leg. There is a alternated slip stitch heel and just your regular stockinette sole and your toe. So I knit these socks. These socks are a free pattern on Ravelry. I knit them out of Lorna's Laces in the Eat Sleep Knit colorway, which is cracking me up because I watch a lot of podcasts, and I watch Kristen at the Yarngasm podcast, and she also has Wool and Vine yarns, and she just dyed up a new colorway that reminds me of this colorway, and she's knitting socks out of it, and I was like, whoa, those look like my socks. Her colorway is different. It just looks similar, but her colors, her turquoise pops more than the turquoise in here, and I don't think she has a green in hers, and there's a green in this one. So they're not the same colorway, but they look similar, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna have matching socks almost. But yeah, after I knit these, I realized I kind of like the way that the yarn looks in stockinette better than I do in the textured stitch pattern, but you know, too late now. I knit 2 socks. I am happy with them. I knit them on US size 0s, and I got really nice gauge. I knit these for part of the Eat Sleep Knit knit-alongs. Same with that baby latte coat. So I'm just, you know, chugging away at those. There's 12, and I think I've completed 4 now. So it's pretty good since we're only 2 months into the year. I think I'm going to be able to complete them all. So I also finished some spinning. So if you've been watching for a little while, you may have remembered that I dyed some 50/50 merino tencel and gave one of the braids away, and the one braid that I got to keep was Snow Day, and it's all spun up now. So this is, like I said, 50/50 merino tencel that I spun on my Ashford Traveler wheel and then chain plied. And you can tell this skein got more turquoise than the other skein did, so it'll be interesting when these get knit up. Don't know if I'm going to use them in the same project or not. I mean, I could, but I don't know if I'm going to. I'm thinking about making like some really nice like beaded cowls that I could use separately. Oh, this one just decided to open. I could use the skein separately to do that. So let's see, what do I have here? This skein, which is like way washed out back here, that's why I keep bringing it up close, see if you can get a better idea of the color, which they are mostly white or kind of silver with some blue highlights in it. This one is 2.1 ounces and 180 yards. It is a fingering weight. And this one is 1.85 ounces and 198 yards, also a fingering weight. This one is a little bit finer. My wheel has 2-ounce bobbins, so these are spun separately. I try my best to keep them the same. You know how it is, spinners. So that's all I got for finished objects. Moving on to works in progress. So I have been doing some more spinning on my wheel, and this is an interesting spin for me. I purchased an art bat when I first started learning how to spin at a fiber festival, and I was spinning it on a drop spindle, and I realized when I was spinning it that I was trying to make nice yarn instead of art yarn. And I had a very hard time keeping the yarn consistent, and it had mohair locks in it, and I kept picking them out, and I basically was not spinning what the fiber was prepared to do, and fighting against that was not fun. Well, I got some art prepped fiber as a gift from a friend, Kat, from the Cat Straight podcast, and I decided not to fight it. I decided not to fight it. So this fiber, this is some of the fiber I have. Of course, it's one of those, I don't even, what do you call this? It looks like it was dizzed, like blended on a drum carder or maybe some combs and then dizzed off is what it looks like. But you can see when you get up close into this fiber, it's got, it has neps in it. It's definitely meant to be art yarn. And so I decided, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Go with the flow. What does it want to do? So I started spinning it on my wheel, and I'm getting this very thick and thin kind of arty yarn. It's pretty much impossible to spin it in even weight because of those neps, and there's some parts of the fiber that are like matted, and I don't think that it was accidental. This seems very purposeful, like this is meant to be this way to make art yarn. Which I didn't even mention, this fiber is from Fantasy Fiber Studios. So yeah, I mean, this wasn't made poorly. This is, I'm like 100% sure this was made to be this way. And so, like I said, I've been spinning it. It's very thick and thin. I'm trying to go for an overall worsted to bulky weight because I plan to use the yarn to make something for Kat's newborn to send back to her. So Kat just had a baby a couple weeks after I did. So congratulations, Kat. I don't think I congratulated you on the podcast yet. But she had little baby Lucy, and if you check out, I think it's the latest episode that she's recorded. I know it's at least the last episode of hers that I've watched, where she has little Lucy in her podcast, and she's so cute. So I plan to chain ply this and make something for Lucy to send back to Kat. So I've been enjoying this. I mean, it's a very quick spin too. This is a lot of fiber together. This isn't like your normal amount that you'll get in a roving, so it's thick, and I've been trying to spin it together. I don't want the colors to be separate since they were combed or carded together. I've been trying to get the plies to have more than one color in them, but it is difficult. So sometimes I find myself pulling and breaking and then reattaching to a new colored area to try to break it up, because when I do chain ply it, I don't really want there to be long sections of color. I'm interested to see how it all turns up when it's done. But I didn't weigh it, so I don't know how much fiber there is, but I'll know when it's done. Should be enough to at least make a hat or something. So also, I've been knitting a little bit on my Hitofude cardigan. Like barely though. Last time I showed this to you guys, I had just joined this skein, and I have just the weeest bit of hole. I can't even see you. Oh, a little bit. I can barely see through this hole. Like, that's how much of a little dent this is. So this is Tosh Merino Light in the Turn colorway, and here is my Hitofude, which is a paid for pattern. It's less than $2. on Ravelry. But this is upside down, so let me show you this way. Here's my neck, the collar, and my sleeves. So it looks pretty much like I showed you last week. I can show you, because I haven't woven in my ends. Yes, okay. I'm getting myself all confused here. The construction of this cardigan is very clever, and it's different. So I'm like, how can I show you where I left off? This is where I joined. So, and that's about where I was last episode, so that's all I've knit. So I've been meaning to put more time into this cardigan. I kind of got, I guess, more excited about other projects, and it got put down. But I need to make a goal of doing a couple repeats a day, like maybe a repeat of the lace pattern a day, because I want to make sure this gets finished, because I plan to hopefully wear it to Maryland Sheep and Wool. What? So, if you guys don't know, I live in Georgia, and I live in Georgia because of my job. So I don't really talk about my job that much on the podcast, because it doesn't seem relevant, but it is in this situation. So I'm in the United States Air Force, and I'm stationed here in Georgia, and I've been here for a couple years now, and this year my contract with the Air Force ends, and I don't plan to re-enlist. So I will be moving at the end of this year. So while I'm in Georgia, I plan to go to Maryland Sheep and Wool because I plan to move back to Washington State when my contract ends. So me and my husband both are from Washington State, and we both have family back there, and that's just kind of where we want to go settle down, and so, and you know, raise Emily and hopefully future children. So we figured while we're on the East Coast, we should do as much and see as much as we can out here, because it's cheaper than flying from the West Coast. So, you know, in all our years here, we haven't done much traveling, and I told my husband I really want to go to Maryland Sheep and Wool at least once, and, you know, I think it's only like a 10-hour drive or so from here, which is totally doable. So, I plan on going, fingers crossed. It's really early planning, so, I don't know, are you guys going? Will I see you there maybe? That would be awesome. But I do plan on wearing this because May is hot and not super sweater weather, but it can be lacy cardigan weather. So I do want to make sure I finish that. And another side note about this cardigan, Josh was cracking up because I had it on the couch and I was doing some cleaning or whatever, and I came over and Josh is like, yeah, I saw Chester on your knitting, and I was like, oh my god, is it okay? Because Chester likes to eat wool. And he's like, yeah, he's fine, he was just doing the kneading thing on it. He's like, but he was so into it, more into it than I've ever seen him knead on anything else. He was drooling, and I was like, what? And sure enough, when I went over and I picked it up, there were wet spots on the cardigan, like little droplets. Chester kitty, oh my goodness, that cat, he's too much. So what else have I been working on? I've been working on a lot. I've got more progress done on the Princess Hearts cardigan by Deborah Newton. I have a piece. So this is very fitting for the past holiday, which everybody happy late Valentine's Day. It's got these hearts all across the bottom, and you can see my sleeve hole there in my front. This is the back, the other sleeve hole, and then the other front. My one complaint about this pattern and all of the patterns in this book, this is Heirloom Baby Knits by Deborah Newton. All of the sweaters that I've come across so far, which has been 3, they're all knit in pieces and seamed, and so that sucks. And there's really no way around it. Like, they're knit that way because they have to be knit that way, and it has to do with the designs that are in the pieces. Like, that's just how it goes. So, yeah, that's all I've got on that. I was gonna start the sleeves soon, but I'm nervous because I'm down to my last ball. So I'm knitting this sweater out of Knit Picks Swish DK. I think that's right. Out of the Sugar Plum colorway, and this is my last ball. And I still have to knit 2 sleeves and the button band, and I'm a little nervous that this might not be enough. So I'm hoping it's enough, but I've kind of been avoiding it, I think, because I'm afraid I'm going to run out. I can always order more, and hopefully it's near color, you know, but I should work on it some more, get it finished, because it's for a baby due in May, and I kind of want to knit that baby another object. I'm thinking a dress, so I should probably finish that soon. Sorry, I'm down here itching my foot. I forget sometimes what you guys see while I'm recording, and I will like look down and look around, and I know some people apologize for that, but I don't think I realize I'm doing it when I do it. And then also, it's kind of like having a conversation. When you talk to somebody, you don't just sit here and stare at them the whole time that you talk to them. You know, you're like looking around and looking down and looking up, and so hopefully it's not too distracting to you guys for me to be being so conversational about this. Okay, so what else am I knitting? More things. My awesome Wool Sunday Jack bag. I'm gonna call this my Jack bag. Even, I don't know, it's a Jack and Zero bag. I have cast on with the Penguin Soup Oogie Boogie yarn. I've cast on 4 mitts. I haven't decided if they're gonna be fingerless or not yet, because the pattern has the option. Okay, I get confused on what fingerless mitts really are. I mean, what do you guys think? Are they like wrist warmers, where like there's a wrist warmer where it just cuts off here and there's no fingers? Or does fingerless mean there's no fingertips? Or does it mean there's no finger holes? I don't know. I really don't. But I haven't decided if these are going to be wrist warmers is what I'll call, where they stop here, or mitts where there's fingers but there's no fingertips. There's options for both in this pattern. It's a free pattern on Knitty. I'm knitting it, like I said, out of Penguin Soup Oogie Boogie, which was part of her Nightmare for Christmas club. It's the final yarn, and this is her Royal MCN base, so it's got cashmere in it. I've just kind of done the cuff here, and it's a twisted rib. Of course, I've got my parallel knitting going on, so I have 2 cuffs, and I really like the way this pattern is, and I'm hoping that I like the way that it knits up. I'm only at the cuffs, so I know I like the yarn and I like the way the cuffs look, but the pattern, it's got the twisted rib kind of crossing across your hand, and then the rest is in stockinette, so I'm hoping the rib will still stand out even though this is a variegated yarn. But I think I'm going to be happy with the knit, but I've barely just started this. And I'm knitting it on US size zeros. I'm realizing almost all of my sock needles are zeros. The only sock needles I have that aren't zeros are size 1 DPNs, which I have a sock cast onto those that I never finished. It was the very first pair of socks I ever cast on. I haven't finished them. I should do that because I'm really close. It was a top-down sock, and I'm past the heel, and I'm at least halfway past the foot, and so I'm just like a couple inches from starting the toe. I'm pretty sure I put them down because it's like a really intricate cable design, and it was like taking too much attention to knit them, so I just kind of set them aside, but I really should finish those. Okay, the final thing I'm knitting. Goodness. This is my bag. I think this is the only project bag I own that somebody else has made. The rest of the bags I've just made myself. So, uh-oh, something's stuck in the zipper. This is the downside to having zipper bags. Oh, we're good. Nope, nothing was stuck. So this is a new project, and it's part of a mystery knit along, but the clues are all out, and so I think I'm safe to share it. I should just go ahead and say, if you're participating in the Lou Cookies mystery sock knit along and you don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead some couple minutes. So this is the Lou Cookies mystery sock knit along by Catherine Steinhauer, or Lou Cookie Designs, I think is what it's called. I think that's what it said in the pattern, but on Ravelry it doesn't say that. Whatever. So I cast on US size zeros. And I'm not knitting these parallel because my other sock needles are full and I only had this one sock needle, so this is just a one lonely sock. So it's a toe-up sock, and my sock has a freckle. See? It has a freckle. I don't know what I got on the yarn, but I wasn't super happy about it when I found it. But it's a textured sock pattern with a really cute cable. So this is the left sock, so it will go up the left side of my foot, and it's reversed for the other side. This pattern was free when I got it, but I don't think it's going to stay free. I don't know if it's still free, but I got it free because I think it was free while it was a mystery knit along, I think. Don't hold me to it. There's a cat hair on here. This yarn was gifted to me by the lovely Dawn of Daybreak Dye Works, and I absolutely love it. She knows I love orange, and she said it was sitting in her stash, not gonna get used. I'm using it. This is, oh my goodness, I didn't write it down, but I'm pretty sure it's Dizzy Blonde's. It's superwash sock, I think, in the Tequila Sunrise colorway. It's in my project page. But I really like how it's knitting up with the spiral, and you really do see the Tequila Sunrise. If you've ever had one. I had one time. I usually drink whiskey sours when I drink at bars, which doesn't happen at all now. But when I used to go out to the bars on the weekends, I would get whiskey sours, and somebody was like, oh, if you like whiskey sours, you should try Tequila Sunrise sometimes. So I did, and it did look like this. It was like, I don't remember if the reddish orange was at the bottom and then it was like yellow, or if it was the other way around and it was like yellow orange and the red was at the top. I don't remember, but it was delicious and it was a pretty drink, and I see why the yarn is named this. So yeah. Oh, so the third clue already came out, and that includes the heel and the leg, and I did the gusset increase, but I have messed up the heel so many times that I haven't worked on this sock lately. So I don't know what's wrong. I had a different problem every time I did the heel. The first time I did the heel, it wasn't centered. The second time I did the heel, it was missing stitches, or there were too many stitches. And then the third time, I think I started the heel at the wrong spot, so again it wasn't centered, but in a different way than the first time. And so finally, I've just set it down, and I'm like, you know what, this needs to go on pause, this needs to take a break, and I think that I'm just going to put in a heel of my own, because for the life of me, I keep messing up the heel in the pattern. So, yeah, this will get finished later. But oh, I was gonna say that this pattern here, this textured pattern with the cable, is very easy to read, like pick up and put down. I think it's an 8-row repeat. So once you get the repeat done twice, you can just kind of pick up and put down your knitting, or at least I could, and I consider myself a fairly not advanced knitter, I guess. I wouldn't say I'm an advanced knitter. I guess I consider advanced knitters people who design patterns and understand knitting that well and have done every knitting stitch in every knitting design and have knit all the things. I'm not there yet, and I'm able to pick up and put it down. So yeah. So moving on to check it out. So for check it out this week, I wanted to share a book that I got from Knitpicks. So when I ordered my DK and then some other yarn for projects you'll see in the future, I was like so close to free shipping, and I saw that they had 40% off their books. So I was like, okay, I'll pick up a book and get free shipping. And so it's like 40% off and then free shipping. Deal. So I am so happy I finally got my hands on a copy of this book. You've probably seen it, Sock Knitting Masterclass by MandoBug. And there are so many reasons to own this book. If you want to learn to knit socks, or if you knit socks and you want to know about the construction and your options for, you know, modifying sock patterns to better fit your needs, or to design your own sock pattern to fit your needs, or whatever. This book is really awesome. I'm not going to review it. I'm just going to share some of the things that I like about it. It goes over seriously everything. Top down, toe up, 2 at a time, 1 at a time, color work, whatever, it's in here. So like right here you can see they have 4 top down socks, common, heel flap designs, and like the pattern's just right there. They have the same thing for toe up heels. They're just whole pages for it. So like the band heel, the Dutch heel, the peasant heel, short row heel, they have their whole own pages for them. They have all pages for all the different toes too, which I didn't know there were so many different kinds of toes. Like, I knew you could space out the increases or put them closer together to get a more squared long toe or a short rounded toe, but I mean there's toes on here that, like the 3-point toe, where it comes to a point. I don't know how well that would wear, but, or like this one's interesting too. It's got like a ribbed band around the toe. Like I didn't even know there were toes like that. But I mean, and it's got all these lovely little like sidebars. Like right here, here's a little sidebar about how to knit cables without cable needles. So I mean, that's just a nice technique to know in general. But I'm also excited because there are some really awesome sock patterns in this book that utilize the various different types of sock construction. And a couple of those socks that I'm excited to knit are these asymmetrical cables by Cookie A. Those are super cute. And then, got all my tabs, the Slip and Slide by Chrissy Gardner. And I mean, these are just some of the many different socks in here. These ones look awesome. These are the up-down entrelac socks, or is that how you say it? Entrelac? That's the only way that makes sense to me. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say it before. But these are not, this is not self-striping yarn in the sock. This is like scraps, which is what I would want to use this for. I think these would make awesome scrappy socks. They look like jester socks, and I love funky colored socks. I haven't knit myself a bunch of socks, but the socks that I buy from stores are crazy socks, and I often wear them without their matches, just because I don't care if they match or not, and they're crazy on their own, so it doesn't really matter, and who sees your socks usually anyways? I think that's why I like them being so crazy, because I don't have to match your clothes. I guess unless you're wearing shorts, but I still wear mismatching socks anyways. And then this pattern as well. And I've never done shadow knitting before, so I think this would be fun. And that's Stealth Argyle? Yeah, Stealth Argyles by Uni Yang. Oh my goodness, I hope I said that right. I'll put it at the bottom like I normally do, but maybe it's Uni Jang. Uni Yang. Sorry. That's okay, you know, I feel like people mess up my last name all the time. I'm not even sure the correct way to pronounce it because it's my husband's last name and I don't think he knows either. So I pretty much will accept anything. But side note, that reminds me, when I went to my 6-week postpartum checkup at the hospital, the doctors called my name and they said it a little different than usually. And they only call us usually by our last name. It's a military hospital. And this other lady stood up and like speed walked over there. And I was like, okay, maybe her name just sounds really close to mine. So I sat there for like 15 minutes and then they called my name again. And I got up and I walked over and they're like, oh, here she is. And they were, so the lady totally came when they called my name and like was like the nurses had already seen her and got her vitals and everything. And it wasn't until she got seen by the doctor that they realized that she was not me. Oh, it was pretty ridiculous. Anyways, side note, I don't have anything for current events, so upcoming events. I am going to be hosting a knit-along again, so that will be upcoming. Except for, well, not really knit-along, craft-along. But it's a totally cheater craft-along. So this is going to be the double dip craft-along. So I'm going to be holding it from March 1st through May 31st. And pretty much all you have to do is double dip. So whatever you enter into anyone else's knit-along, you can enter into mine. Like, that's the point. You're double dipping. So you're knitting... my hand combs. You do a knit-along with somebody else and you enter their knit-along, then you enter it in mine. It's that simple. And there are unlimited entries, so as many knit-alongs that you enter projects into, you can enter into mine. Now, say you were doing a sweater knit-along with somebody, and you also were able to enter that sweater into another knit-along with somebody else, like someone was having a purple knit-along and your sweater was purple. So you entered it into those two. You still only get one entry in mine. You can't be like, oh, I entered the sweater in 2 other cows, so I get to enter it in your cow twice. No. So it's 1 entry per project, but unlimited entries. So, but you will only be able to win once. So I'll do random number generator to draw, and there will be at least 2 prizes. Depending on the level of activity, I will add more prizes. I have 2 skeins of yarn to give away, which I didn't grab, but the knit-along isn't starting until March, so I will share that in a future episode. So there will be 2 skeins of sock yarn to give away separately, so those are the 2 prizes. And then I will, like I said, add more prizes as depending on how many entries there are. I will probably add more yarn and project bags. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. I will be starting up a thread for that in the MandoBug Crafts Ravelry group. But yeah, pretty much that's all I got. So I will leave you guys with a video of Emily. I've been trying to share her and hand knits these past few episodes. So I figured it would be easier to record her doing her thing instead of me trying to force her to do my thing. So what you'll see her at the end of the show, she's wearing some leg warmers that were knit by Kat of the Cat Straight podcast. Is that the name of her podcast? Now I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. If that's not right, I'll put it at the bottom, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's the Cat Straight podcast. Her name's Cat Straight on Ravelry. But yeah, she sent me those leg warmers along with that fiber and some really cute buttons for the holidays, which was really nice of her. So I plan on sending some things back, like I said, something for Lucy, and then I'll make some other stuff too. But yeah, so Emily's wearing some leg warmers that were knit by her, and I will link her project page in my show notes. So in case you were interested in the yarn or the pattern for yourself or for friends. But yeah, I will see you guys in a week or 2. I hope that you got some awesome crafting done during this episode, and yeah, that's it. Bye!